Oh, what the I'm ugly. So, I had to save you guys from that horrible design. We've all seen bad designs like that, so I figured I'd try to tackle human Sonic design. You know, are you truly an artist online if you haven't tackled the idea of drawing a non-humanoid as a humanoid? Yeah, so I have 3 designs here that I've cooked up for you guys, and I'm gonna talk about them because, you know, I like character design, so why not do it with some of my favorite non-human characters? Yeah, but enough yapping. Okay, well, starting off with the main man himself, Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic the Guy. So, what I'm going to put up on screen right here is a board that I did with my old friend Millinote. No, I don't have sponsors, I wish I did, but this is what I used to kind of visualize what I wanted to, the main, can't speak, the main character design, you know, the vibes that I was going for. So, what I wanted to really figure out while making these designs, what I wanted to achieve, to be more exact, is this character recognizable as a human? What would they actually wear? I might change their jobs or occupations or what they might actually be doing, but like, to fit them into a certain box, I'm like, what would they wear? And do they have a similar silhouette or vibe? Which I guess kind of just ties into, you know, is this character recognizable as themselves? And honestly, just getting it out early, I think I did the best with Sonic so far. So, as you can see here, I obviously kind of built an outfit through multiple different pieces that I saw. Also brought references from the games, because I didn't want to just entirely be like, this is just a guy, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to really drive home the fact, you know, Sonic is a very anti-establishment character. I know there's ties to like skater culture and a lot of 90s things, which I guess I kind of achieved here, but I wanted to focus more on, you know, his anti-establishment things. And honestly, I see people either just slap Sonic's hair onto the human version, you know, things such as that. I might see them do that, or just like give him basic anime hair, which is no hate to those artists, of course, but it's kind of what I wanted to do when going through his art style. I wanted to, it's like, what would he wear? And, you know, I decided on Liberty Spikes, so this is my other page of the Millinote. My board here, this is basically just talking about Liberty Spikes. Yeah, I took some liberties, that no pun intended, with the Liberty Spikes, and that led me to what you see on screen. Colors were pretty simple. I wanted red, green, you know, blues and yellows. Obviously, blue is his main thing. But I wanted a lot of things about this. Here, actually, as you can see, I'm actually adding in the tattoo sleeve, which is something that I got in, that I thought about like later into developing this design, but I think it worked out pretty perfectly. You know, I put Chip from Sonic Unleashed and Chow, and then I'm assuming there's other things on the other side of his arm, but from what you can see, that's what I ended up deciding on. Lots of piercings. I even, you know, mocked up a little thing about like what he'd have on his ears, like the red star ring, whatever that may mean in this version of his universe, besides being a collectible. And I also wanted their body types to be pretty important here. I wanted him to be very athletic, but also like not buff or really skinny, because I wanted him to be like a free runner, because I mean, like, Sonic is like a driver, a race car driver, or like just a track runner is cool, but I like the idea of him being more into free running, if anything. So that's kind of where I got the idea of with his design. So I also wanted him to be a little flashy, so a lot of the gold rings are plastered everywhere. Also, as you can see, the little item box that he has below on his waist, I wanted to incorporate things for his design. You could kind of see his belt also has the spring, well, the modern version of the spring. And you can see his accessory up there, the sunglasses, which was one thing that I wanted to be consistent with all 3 of the characters that I'm doing here, because I wanted them to all kind of match, because I thought they'd be kind of cool. Also do his little side profile over there, which was really nice. Also, you can see I added a bunch of sweat to his body. I mean, these aren't character sheets, so I don't have to worry about it being super consistent, and I thought it added a little bit extra to his character. So, yeah, this is the final design for Sonic. I think I did a pretty good job. He's personally my favorite, but I think I did well with the other two as well. So, moving on from Sonic, the main man himself, I would like to move on to his best buddy, Tails, and also not the completely bitch-made version they had of him in Sonic Forces. Okay, now on to Tails, and ignore the fact that I was already working on this sketch before I decided to start recording, and I was like, oh wait, my button isn't on. So, you can see here that I had a very clear vision for what I wanted to do with Tails' design. So, tech, young kid, obviously, and also, you can see here that I was trying to really build in like a substitute for his Tails. There was an interesting idea where I wanted to say like Tails had like some sort of muscular disability, which would require him to use tech to make himself move better. I didn't really convey that super well here, but that would be the purpose of his floating tail. Yes, it's a little ridiculous, but I also used reference from is it still called the tornado or the torpedo? I don't really remember. Regardless, though, I had a very clear vision. It took me a lot shorter to do than it did for Sonic. So, Aviator Tech Kid Tails. And I think I did a pretty good job of trying to copy Tails' silhouette as, well as, this kid is smart. That's what I was trying to get across here. I added a lot of colors, but a lot of them were going to be warmer colors. I don't think it moves that far out. I actually think I added less colors here than I did, and I take that back because I remembered that I wanted to have it match up with his actual tail, so there wasn't just so much orange, brown, and white when he was using something big, blue, and yellow. So I added a lot of blues and yellows to his outfit. Ignore the fact that I completely forgot to add some of the rendering too. Look, I had a big problem with forgetting when to record, but you get the point. Gosh. But yeah, favorite part was also doing his shoes, because I love how good the shoes look, that, no matter how simple or complex they are, they always work with the way that they're set up. Also, I made him a natural ginger. So I'm going to put up my board here. So I'm just going to put this up here very briefly because I didn't really reference this board as much as I would have liked to. But honestly, it's not a bad thing because I think what I had in my head was already enough. Really, it was just to set the ideas there to really get across the couple things I had going for Tails. As you can see also, that was one of the first things I put emphasis on his goggles. You can also see me flash. You're going to see this a lot in the Knuckles one. I flash back to the other two to get a good idea of consistency between the way that I ended up coloring things. So this is basically what I had for Tails. He doesn't have much nicknames, so I just used his legal name, and Tails is a nickname, and that very much works in this context. Also, I think I just mentioned making him a natural ginger, so here's the second note about his appearance. I mean, you could tell I already had in mind what I wanted him to look like. So, yeah, in short, this is Tails. I didn't have much to say here. I think I did pretty well. He's very cool. I also gave him a little snag, too, if that's something I also wanted to bring up. The propellers, the color of his tails. I'm just bringing up some extra little details here and there. As well as his little thing he's holding in his hand to control his tails. He uses a lot of tech like this in, basically every media you see him in. So, and his snack tooth. Did I bring up his snack tooth? Yeah, I wanted to create a cute character that's also kind of cool. I think I did a good job. So, now I'm on to Knuckles. So again, Knuckles. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, this was actually the character sheet that I used the least, not sheet, I meant board. So, I couldn't really decide on his pose to begin with. I didn't even bother to record it because it was like 20 different poses I went through. I don't know why I found this so hard. I was even using that as I use so many references, and for such a simple pose too. I don't know why it took me this long. Funny thing about this, I'm just gonna put up this board straight away so you get the gist. I actually wanted to lean more into the treasure hunting archaeologist standpoint, also so I can include his silly little cowboy hat. But the weirdest thing about Knuckles, and I think what works about his design, is how simple it is. And yes, all the Sonic characters have simple designs, but I mostly mean his demeanor as well as his personality, and I think I wanted to reflect that. Not to say that his character is brain dead. I don't like when they write Knuckles as being completely stupid, because he's not stupid. But I wanted to really go home with that simplicity, but also add little things about, like, the Echidna clan, the Knuckles clan, and their personal things, like the little feathers, the tattoos. That's why I added more to his tattoos. I added a little bit around his chest, but I still wanted the emphasis to be mainly on the crescent. So originally I was gonna have him having these little claws to do things to dig and search for things, but instead I went full in on the boxer aesthetic because of his big gloves, and I honestly think come on, man. I honestly think that it ended up working, especially with the way that the colors, that he has, very Rastafarian colors, ended up working together. The funny thing about this is that, people argue about, how you should interpret Knuckles as a human, because the Echidnas are actually very inspired by Mayan culture, but I really think him being ambiguous doesn't really matter. I looked at some references, of, natives that have African, features, and, in this fictional universe, some sort of weird Mayan African culture, because he has too much Rastafarian and also as well as like rap influence in basically hip hop American culture basically baked into this character. He's been voiced by a black man before. It's Idris Elba, but in general, I don't think it's really that serious. It makes no sense. There's inspirations from multiple cultures, and his most iconic look is his hair looking like locks, as well as his goggles right there. Also put some scars and like blood and like a black eye here from him fighting, maybe using his connections through like an underground ring to find more pieces of the Master Emerald. And it's just a little cool idea I had here. I think I found a good way to incorporate the simple things about his design and make them more complex and simple. And he also, as you can tell, he doesn't actually have the Knuckles things. I was debating on whether or not to have those, but because they're so iconic, so I wanted those to be formulated through Chaos Energy. He's also the only character where I did his side profile last because I was trying to make a really good silhouette. But this took me the shortest amount of time between all three of them, and I completely disregarded all the research I did for the board in favor of simplicity, but I think it was worthwhile in what I ended up doing. So, Knuckles, Guardian of the Master Emerald. This is his final design, and I can say that I'm really happy with it, and there's not a lot of really, tiny details to pick out. You can look at it yourself. I think also that isn't just like a random green thing. It's the reason I made it shine. It's a shard of the Master Emerald, which I thought was really cool, and it also put some visual interest below the belt that his sash kind of already does. You saw earlier in the process that I also put some of the metal things on his foot, but in general, I don't think that was going to work out because it ended up looking really weird because it's already going all the way up against his leg. So I ended up just settling on being against his leg. So, wow, I said so a lot. I'm not editing any of that out, by the way. I want you to feel like a friend that is forced to talk to me. I need to stop. Oh! So, I put all three of them together for scale, and that will be the end of this video. Please let me know if you liked it. what some changes you might want to see to my format, if you maybe want to see more scripted things, or you like me talking to you like some crazy friend that you're not really interested in hearing anything they have to say, but you listen anyway. Let me know if there's maybe other Sonic characters or potentially other characters from other series that you would like to see humanized. It's totally an idea that I would love to revisit in the future. And as per usual, make sure to hug someone close to you. Read a book. Drink water, of course. Talk to somebody. And best of all, stay productive. So, have a good one.